back here on a Monday, everyone. Hope you had a great Christmas, and it is still cold outside, Aaron.
Yeah, we're in the last few days of the year, and we're still talking about temperatures anywhere from 40 to 50 below through the interior. And yes, we are talking about ongoing winds, which remain with us across South Central. And those winds, we did first alert you through the weekend, still gusting up to 50 miles per hour here in Anchorage. Even higher wind speeds still expected for areas of the Matanuska Valley this morning. 14 degrees is where we're currently sitting at, although it feels even colder when you factor in those winds. You can see winds gusting up to 80 miles per hour in Palmer, near 55 miles per hour in Wasilla, even out towards Talkeetna, and then western parts of the Kenai, seeing those winds gusting quite windy this morning, even out towards Seward. Those winds have been gusting over 60 miles per hour. And these winds have been with us through the weekend. That is leading to some wind chills this morning, anywhere from about 0 degrees to near negative 15 as you head out towards Palmer, as you head across eastern parts of Prince William Sound and into the Copper River Basin. Not as cold, but still holding on to some of those colder and windier conditions which remain with us across South Central. So as you get outside today, if you're taking any of those gifts back for gifts exchange or just doing any late evening or late shopping later today, just be prepared for some of those winds to remain quite gusty at times, which will lead to those wind chills staying below zero for a good portion of the day. So even though our temperatures will warm into the teens through the afternoon hours, we'll likely hold on to those sub-zero wind chills for most of your Monday. The next big thing we continue to track across the state: rain, snow, winds, freezing rain, and some flooding looks possible for southeast here over the next couple of days. We've got several winter weather alerts in effect. We've also got windy conditions which remain for South Central. And yes, that bitter cold in the interior remains with us. We've got temperatures this morning as low as negative 50. I'll break all of that down for you coming up in the next couple of minutes, as well as through the morning show, and give you that 7-day forecast coming up.
As the legislative session approaches, 2 Mat-Su Republicans wait to be brought into the fold as state lawmakers. Those men are Steve St. Clair and Garrett Nelson. They're waiting to be confirmed by House Republicans to fill the House seats of now Senators Kathy Tilton and George Rauscher. But they enter at a time when several hot-button issues are likely to take much of the spotlight. Our political reporter, Will Courtney, asked what their top priorities would be during the session.
Priorities would be the budget, of course, health and social services, and education. We're not done with education. You can't just throw money at it and expect changes. We need to make requirements, incentivize. Priorities are just to get to Juneau, get organized, figure out exactly what we're doing. I'm not looking for any special committee. I'm not looking for any committee assignments. I'm just willing to go wherever they need me.
But I want us to have a long-term, stable fiscal plan in place that can't be dinked around with. That's one. The other thing is that I want us to utilize our natural resources to drive, and that will take care of the budget thing.
We'll have the extended conversation with both St. Clair and Nelson available today on the Alaska's Political Pipeline podcast. Catch the latest episode on our website, mobile app, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. The Anchorage Police Department says an officer reported being shot while on patrol Christmas morning. APD says it happened before 6 a.m. Thursday while the officer was driving by a home near 34th and Spinard. They said multiple units and the SWAT team were called in to help find a person who was thought to be armed. The department added that officers discovered there were multiple people in the home and used a, quote, series of tactics. APD says no one was injured and 6 people were arrested on various charges, including outstanding warrants. Alaska Regional Hospital is reporting an increase of patients with frostbite as cold weather temperatures continue.
This cold weather is different compared to the last few years we've had.
The Department of Health says Alaska's cold temperatures pose a risk factor for cold-induced injuries like frostbite. Early onset warning signs start off as frost nip. That includes symptoms like decreased circulation and a tingling sensation. As the injury worsens and becomes frostbite, the injured area starts to feel hard. According to Alaska Regional, there's no set amount of time it takes to get frostbite. It really depends on weather conditions and the person's health. The hospital recommends that people dress weather appropriate to help prevent it.
There's going to be layering is going to be one issue. But really important is moisture control, because if you're sometimes it's a common thing to say, oh, it's so cold, let's get a lot of clothes on and overbundle. But if you start sweating underneath, that's a big problem. So you want to have the layer closest to the skin to be moisture wicking, so that you don't have wetness like right up against the skin. If there's wind, you want to have a wind barrier.
Areas such as your nose, earlobes, and fingers or toes are more at risk, according to the hospital. And as Fairbanks shivers through another round of 30 below temperatures, the local rescue mission is experiencing a familiar increase in demand. But unlike some other shelters that provide immediate warmth, the mission says their high barrier model is focused on long-term solutions. The mission maintains a strictly drug and alcohol-free environment to protect everyone on site. Those who can't meet these requirements are directed to downtown warming centers or Northern Hope. Last year alone, they served 60,000 meals and provided 46,000 bed nights, showing the continued need for their services.
It's not a drastic drop, but the numbers are lower than before, but the place is far more productive as far as helping people get back on their feet and getting a life and getting an apartment and getting reunited with their families.
The mission has helped permanently house nearly 800 people over the last 5 years. Another holiday kicked off Friday. Adelmi Ruiz joins us from the newsroom with a look at what Kwanzaa is all about. Adelmi.
Kristen, the African-American holiday of Kwanzaa began Friday and goes through January 1st. It's a non-religious celebration of family and social values. It's designed as a way for African Americans to reconnect with ancestral roots by celebrating African culture. Each day of Kwanzaa is dedicated to one of 7 defining principles. They are unity, self-determination, collective responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Sankofa Dance Theater hosted a celebration of Anchorage in Anchorage Friday night.
It brings the community together. It brings self together. It brings self-awareness. It brings community awareness together, and we build, you connect. You find people, connect with people, and you build relationships from there.
Each night, celebrants light a new candle on a 7-branched candelabra. On December 31st, participants take part in a feast. Kristen?
All right, thanks, Adelmi. Still ahead on the Morning Edition. It might be stating the obvious, but yeah, it's pretty cold outside. And if you're cold, they're cold. A reminder to take care of our 4-legged friends, whether they're cats or dogs, this winter, as they too have to deal with the sub-zero freezing temperatures.
Ongoing winter weather in the form of freezing rain, snow, and yes, some flooding concerns for Southeast remains throughout the week. I'll have more on that, but first at sunrise, 10:14 in Anchorage, 8:46 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back in on this Monday morning, Aaron. It is still pretty cold outside. What's our weather looking like?
Well, depending on if you live in the interior or southeast, you're either dealing with cold and some snowy conditions or bitter cold weather. 44 below in Fairbanks this morning, 12 below in McGrath. Out towards southeast, we're seeing anything in the way of freezing rain out towards Yakutat, to snow through the northern panhandle down towards Juneau. And then as you head through the southern panhandle, we are seeing some widespread rain. This comes from an atmospheric river that is leading to some flooding concerns across the panhandle. There's that area of low pressure that we are watching, also leading to some snow accumulation for Prince William Sound and southern parts of the Kenai. And then we've also got a low out towards the Seward Peninsula that's keeping some light snow showers in the forecast. But of course, the big concern today continues to be the Gulf Coast region. We've got several locations up under winter weather alerts. We've got high wind warnings out towards Valdez, Thompson Pass, and then of course that flood advisory as you head through the southern panhandle, with the exception of Hyder, which remains up under a winter storm warning through far southeastern reaches of the panhandle. Now, winds still gusty across southern parts of the state. 48-mile-per-hour winds in St. George, 35 in Bethel, near 50-mile-per-hour winds here in Anchorage, and then out towards southeast, those winds have been gusting about 30 to 40 miles per hour. That is leading to some bitter cold wind chills across the state. 32 below is what it feels like in McGrath. Along the slope, those wind chills anywhere from 30 to 50 below. And even though winds remain with us for southeast, faring a lot warmer compared to the rest of the state, and that's due to that atmospheric river that's building into the panhandle, leading to rain, snow, freezing rain, and yes, some of those flooding concerns that we will see sticking around throughout the day. So areas of the northern and central panhandle will see that better shot for some snow out towards Yakutat. We'll see more in the way of a freezing rain, snow event sticking around throughout your Monday into Tuesday. And of course, as you head really south of Fort Alexander out towards the southern panhandle, this is where we are watching that flooding potential, where we could see an additional 2 to 5 inches of that rainfall accumulation. So this active weather stays with us for the foreseeable future. Now, in terms of snowfall accumulation, there will be that potential that some areas of the northern panhandle could pick up an additional foot of that accumulation. Of course, any rain that mixes in or freezing rain that mixes in will eat into that snowfall amount. I believe that's what's happening out towards Yakutat, as Yakutat will still see that potential for about 3 to 6 inches of snow accumulation, but freezing rain will eat into the amount of snowfall that you will see. But there will be some areas of the northern panhandle picking up nearly a foot of that snowfall accumulation. Then areas to the south, we're going to begin to see additional rounds of some rain that's going to build into the region, where we could pick up 2 to 3 plus inches of that additional rainfall accumulation. That is why we do have that flooded advisory in effect for areas of the southern panhandle. So take note of that. If you live out in southeast today, the northern and central panhandle will largely hold on to that active wintry weather and some gusty conditions, while areas of the southern panhandle see rain. We'll continue to hold on to more of this snow for the rest of this week. Daily highs, Kristen, staying in the 30s. Meanwhile, here across South Central, winds are still with us, and I'll break that down for you coming up next.
All right, thanks, Aaron. As the holiday season is in full swing, the Alaska Department of Health is reporting a spike in flu cases, and it's higher than it was this same time last year. Will Courtney breaks down the numbers.
We're starting to get deep into flu season, and the Alaska Department of Health said last week they've seen a notable increase in influenza or the flu since mid-November. Now, about the same time last year, there were 108 confirmed cases of the flu. The next week saw a spike up to nearly 500. But this year, what we're looking at right now is state numbers showing 816 reported cases, confirmed cases of the flu on the week of December 20th. So we're looking at a pretty sizable uptick in the flu, but we actually haven't surpassed the highest peak of the flu this year. That goes all the way back to March, when there were 990 cases of the flu reported. Let's take a better look at what we've been looking at over the last few weeks. This is that rise that we've been seeing up to this point that we're currently at. This was just last week, 391 cases reported before, of course, reaching that 816 cases we're seeing as of the week of December 20th. So something we're also watching as well, state numbers showing RSV and COVID-19. Now, COVID in Alaska seems to be similar to what it looked like last year, but RSV exploded about the same time. State numbers show we're currently at 75 cases of RSV and 50 cases of COVID. So we know Alaskans are getting sick right now, unfortunately, but what can you do to help keep yourself healthy? Well, let's look at what the CDC says. The CDC says you can do a few things to keep healthy. CDC data says getting vaccinated, ultimately going to be the best way to reduce the flu, reducing the risk of having to go to the doctor by 40 to 60%, but it doesn't guarantee immunity from the flu, though. So that's where the CDC says you can deploy other methods, like avoiding close contact and staying at home. We all remember that COVID 6-foot rule, and while we are in a pandemic, fortunately, employing some space could help keep you healthy. Another great idea, covering your mouth and washing your hands. The CDC says viruses like the flu spread when people cough, sneeze, or talk. So putting on a mask, if you are sick, helps keep the virus from spreading. And if you aren't sick, it could also help keep you from catching the flu. Will Courtney, Alaska's news source.
And if the frigid temperatures outside are dangerous outside for humans, that means it's also dangerous for our pets. Michael George shows us how to keep our dogs and cats safe and warm this winter.
Girl. Mo Hussein just started fostering 8-year-old Princess, and he noticed right away that because she's a short-haired breed, she was more sensitive to the cold.
You can tell when Princess is cold.
Yeah, so you start seeing signs if you're looking. They might curl up a little tighter, or you'll see a little bit of shaking and shivering in the rear legs, things like that.
With temperatures dropping, it's a good reminder that just because our furry friends have fur, that doesn't mean they're safe in the cold.
Cold weather can be very dangerous for animals.
Julie Castle, CEO of Best Friends Animal Society, an animal welfare organization, says anytime it's below 20 degrees, cats and dogs are vulnerable to frostbite and even death.
If it's below 20 degrees, if you have little booties that you can put on your dog's feet, use those.
Animals' paws, ears, and noses are the most vulnerable to cold. You should limit walks outside to the bare minimum. And when you get back inside, check your pet's paws for salt used to melt the snow.
Snow melt can be poisonous to a lot of animals, and so make sure that you wipe their paws, wash their paws off after they get outside from a long walk.
And a warning, even if you're not a pet owner, in the winter, cats often seek out the warmth of a car engine.
So if you're going to get in your car and go somewhere, make sure that you tap on the hood. I even pop my hood just to make sure there are no animals underneath there.
Mo says Princess loves her outdoor time, but he always makes sure she's warm.
Dogs in particular are so stoic. They deal with so much pain without letting you know that anything's wrong, so it's really good to keep an eye on them.
A good reminder that a warm pet is a happy pet. Michael George, CBS News, New York.